All right, we are live. Welcome to Unethical Hoops, episode 10, where we will talk about the first round of the playoffs and the games ones we've gotten so far. And maybe if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about the All NBA teams. So, Amir, how was your first weekend of NBA playoffs?
It was good. As you know, the time zone makes it easier to watch in the weekend, and that's why I watched most games. Not all games, to be honest, but I did watch most games. And I have a few hot takes already because I feel like when I watched these games, it was not what the stats showed. So if we want to get into it right away, like let's talk about it.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I think Wemby was not very good yesterday. Um, he hit his shots, that's for sure. Like he was hot from three, but that's not Wemby's calling card. He's a below average 3 point shooter, like numbers wise. So when he gets hot, like that's a good thing. But that's not like his game was not the usual Wemby game. His defense was not as good. His off ball movement was terrible. He ran into his teammates multiple times on both ends. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like he looked lost many times, and I think he got outplayed by Denny, and that's weird because Denny's also on his first playoff game, so people kind of forgot about that when they were thinking about Wemby. But that's also another All Star on his first playoff game, so very impressive performance against a Wemby defense. Um, and I was also like, if we're gonna talk about other games, then I guess let's talk about Wemby first, and then go to Jokic versus Gobert because that's the other hot take. Let's go on.
I
What, what did you
I
think about
haven't I haven't watched that game. The two games I watched the two early games Sunday, and I was watching. Here's the funny story. I was watching the Celtics 76ers. I had to cook some food quickly, and the first quarter was over, and I was like, "Oh, this game's over. Great. I don't have to even watch this." Like as soon as they were up 15, I was like, "This is over," and I was confirmed. So I went back, watched the blowout portion of the first quarter. I was like, "Yeah, nothing from here is serious right now." So I haven't watched the Trailblazers Spurs yet, but I'll probably watch it back when I get to. I just watched a little bit of the. I saw Wemby hit some ridiculous shots. That corner three where he was falling out of bounds was
it?
absurd.
Yep.
Uh, so the shot making was definitely there. But take us through some more of your thoughts of Wemby's night.
Yeah. So obviously, if you look at the box score, he did not really rebound much. It says five. I counted four. I don't know. I mean, it was three, and then he got a rebound, and it counted. It looked as five. And maybe I missed one while like looking away for like 2 seconds. I don't know. Maybe, but it did look. But I mean, even if it's five, it's not his usual rebounding night. And that didn't really matter much because his team was out rebounding the opponents anyway. But he did look lost a lot. He ran into his teammates on both ends, like I said, multiple times. And other than the shot making, both from outside and inside, because he also had some ridiculous layups and stuff, and like mid range shots. Like his shot making in general was on good defense. Like he was hitting shots on good defense. The Blazers were playing really good defense. Like Clinigan, when he was in the game, he didn't make it seem like he. I mean, he's only one inch shorter, so that makes sense, and he's also pretty agile. So he did make it difficult for Wemby when he was in the game. When he was out, Wemby didn't really. Um, I mean, I didn't see the defense that I usually see from him. He was not really as present as he usually is, as active as he usually is. He didn't cover as much space as he usually does. I didn't feel the Wimby effect yesterday. I felt like when he was off the court, they were defending better, and I don't know if the numbers would support that, but I felt that way. I felt like the defense was better when he was off the court. which is a rare thing. Like I don't ever see that from the Spurs. They're a great defensive team, but to be outplayed defensively by like Luke Cornett is something I did not expect. And yeah, so that's like outside of the shot making, I don't think he had a good game. Also, the passing and playmaking, his decision making in general was off on both ends again. So yeah, uh,
Yeah, I think one of the things I did see a little bit from highlights and stuff is that the Trailblazers was like committing the guy, either the ball handler that didn't take the shot and dumped it off to like another guy under the basket, or like a specific guy to just screen Wemby whenever he kind of did, like whenever they drew him to them, they just used that guy to screen off Wemby, so he couldn't contest the other guy's just shot. So
yeah.
I think this playoffs is going to be very interesting. How teams try to solve the Wemby problem on offense. How they're going to scheme their offense to take away Wemby's impact, win protection wise.
Yeah. What about the Denver versus Minnesota? Did you watch that?
Yeah, I watched that. I think it was very interesting. They kept Denver kept Gobert on Jokic. No, not Denver. Minnesota kept Gobert on Jokic in the start, and I think that was a very interesting strategy because early Denver did go to Jokic, and then they kind of started of just playing him in the first quarter like a point guard, where he was kind of like an '80s point guard, just standing on above the arc and letting the others run action, and then he would just hit them because if the Timberwolves don't have Rudy Gobert near the rim, they can't play defense. So I think that was a good little chess match they did of taking Wemby no, taking Jokic off of the scoring aggression and making him more of a playmaker. So I think that was very interesting to see.
Um, yeah, early on, Jokic was not aggressive on the scoring end, but also he couldn't. I felt like he couldn't be. Like the defense was good on him, but not on his teammates. He was hitting his shots. I mean, his passes to open teammates for shots, and the Wolves in general did not play a very good game, in my opinion. Like their shots weren't falling. Their game in general was not their usual. I mean, Ant was not on his usual form. Randall wasn't hitting much. Even Jaden McDaniels was having a slightly off night on offense. But defensively, I felt like Rudy Gobert not only stopped Jokic a lot when he was in the game, but also on offense, they made Jokic look bad, like terrible. I felt like this is one of those games, and I usually don't say this in the playoffs because I feel like Jokic genuinely tries in the playoffs, like much more than the regular season. But this is one of those games where I felt like, okay, like Jokic, he has to be in the game for the offense, especially the playmaking. But on the other end, if Rudy Gobert is scoring on you like that, then there is a problem. I don't know if the Nuggets have the means to work around it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they were definitely not working around it this time, and they got lucky with the off night from the other players like Ant and Randall and stuff. If these guys were hitting their usual shots, this game would have looked much different. The outcome would have looked much different. And
Yeah, I think Denver also shot like over a million for free or something. They shot like they shoot. They went like 10 for 36. So it's not like Denver was going all that better from
yeah,
three.
uh, but if you look at the shots that the Wolves were missing, it's not really good defense. It's just them missing shots. But like the Wolves were playing very good defense, and especially like the off ball action. Like they had a lot of promise. In my opinion, I felt like this is a series that could go wrong. Like it's not going to be a short series in my opinion if the Wolves find
I,
their
I, I think the Wolves' one big issue is that Ant is not what he needs to be physically. I think you could see it when
Mhm.
he was like on big jumps, had to stop himself, decelerate. You just see he's grimacing. That knee is not looking good right now. He has knee tendonitis,
Mhm.
which do impact some of like slowing down. So I I I think Denver got pretty good shots. They just missed some shots they usually make. I think Minnesota did too, but I think it was more for Denver. I think they got pretty good shots.
Yeah,
They got
we're
easy shots
talking
as
only
well.
about threes, yeah. Like, but I'm talking generally, not just threes. But go on, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, but in general, I feel like Denver got good shots in general, and I just think without and being and like Timberwolves don't have enough firepower because their defense is not good enough for this anymore. They're not the same defense they were in 2024. They're way too reliant on. Oh, when speaking of the devil, w-
Okay.
okay, this might get real nasty real quick. What up, football?
What's good?
So we
Uh,
were just talking about that Denver Timberwolves game. What is your thoughts of game one?
Timberwolves don't run offense
No, I agree.
nearly nearly enough. Um, and they actually had a chance to steal that game. Um, I don't think like it's just I have so many issues whenever I watch Wolves possessions. They just seem like they come up and it's just like they rely on Ant to just they don't make things easier for Ant. Like, this man's just coming off an injury. He's clearly dealing with a bad knee, and it's like, yo, run some sets to alleviate some pressure, so Denver can't consistently just cater their whole defense just to stopping him. And it's just like there's no off ball movement. They're not running plays. Um, at least trying to get DiVincenzo involved in the offense much more. I mean, he was on fire yesterday. I think he was 4 for 4 for his first 4 3-point shots. I don't know if he took any more, missed any more. But yeah, I mean, Julius Randle had a disastrous first game. A lot of unforced errors. They need to stop having Rudy do these like weird under the legs passes and behind the back
yeah,
passes.
that was
Like
ridiculous.
yeah, like it happened in the first half, and he hit it off it. The first time he tried it, he hit it off his own leg, and that didn't result in a turnover. Almost did, and I was like, why is Rudy Gobert doing this in the throes of a game? And then just yeah, it was just a lot of mismanaged things of weird stuff that happened. The shot clock violation where everyone just stopped playing. I was like, you guys gotta, it's the playoffs, and that was a momentous swing. It just seemed like every momentum play um, that could have gone either way. It went towards Denver. The officiating didn't help either. People are gonna be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Like the officiating in the first half was disgusting. That flagrant foul call was horrible. Let's be honest. Like Jamal Murray jumped further, and Jamal Murray, Nikhil or was the defender was on the ground before Jamal Murray even took off, and they still call that a flagrant. Um, But yeah, I mean, if Minnesota could get it together, theoretically they could win, but I don't see it. I think Rudy Gobert was amazing. Like his defense against Jokic forced him to take a lot of contested jumpers. Like outside of the finishing in the paint, Jokic, like if you make Jokic take a lot of jumpers, he can be somewhat neutralized. I mean, he's not the greatest 3-point shooter in the playoffs, and I think his percentages will go down. And if Jamal Murray doesn't get 16 free throws again, who knows what could happen? But they got to run some offense for sure.
Yeah,
What?
bro, do you have something else?
Nasa, what are your thoughts?
No, I was gonna say that I felt watching it, just watching it, that Rudy outplayed Jokic. But when this is one of those times where I felt like, you know what, football's right. Like I look at the stat sheet at the end of the game, and Jokic had all of these points. I did not see it when I was watching the game. Maybe
Exactly.
maybe he had
And that
them when Gobert was. I don't know, but when Gobert was on him, I didn't feel like Jokic was impactful at all. And like all the turnovers came, like they were very silly turnovers, and most of them were forced by Gobert in some way, whether he did it himself or pressured him until someone else took the ball. It wasn't just mistakes from Jokic. I mean, it was good defense by Rudy, and also the offense. If Rudy Gobert is scoring on you like that, that's what I was
Yeah,
talking about right before you entered. That's like this reminded me of when Roy Hibbert was doing that against the 2013 Heat, and I was like,
hmm
these guys need a center. But I mean, like this is the same thing here. I felt like Rudy's not supposed to score that many times and be open that because he didn't even take all the shots. If you look at some of the plays, if the Wolves had a good playmaker,
man.
do you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just
Yeah.
choppy a bit. Go ahead.
Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
hear you.
yes.
Hello?
Yeah, you
No,
just we
he
hear
can't
you.
hear
What's
us.
going on?
I'm we hear you
Yeah,
and
I don't know what
you're chopping a little
I
bit.
I was seeing you, but I don't know. I felt like there was something off. Anyway, so I was saying they missed open Gobert under the rim so many times, so
hmm
many times. He could have had like 25.
I think I agree with you guys in your a lot in the thing that Jokic was struggling to score 1-on-1 in the post. I do think like he did find a ways to get it more in the offense in the two-man game with Murray. Found him on some rolls where he hit that floater that's almost automatic. He'd hit a few pick and pop threes, but I think he did maybe intro more as a playmaker, where because he has Rudy on him, like I said before, that just opens up everything because the Timberwolves are so reliant on they're so reliant on Rudy's for their defense that when he's like pulled away, then they're just lost. So I think they used that a lot, and I think that gave them a little extra edge. And that two-man game they always just have to go to is just so unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just a lot of it was just if you even look at the shooters, a lot of it's just free throws, man. I had a real problem with the officiating in that game. Like you couldn't even put a hand on Murray in that. It was pretty gross. I was like, because I mean, Jamal Murray didn't shoot that well. He just had a lot of free throws. I mean, what do you have? Like 16 free throws that game?
It's
Like it
17, I think he
was.
went 15 for 17 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like and it wasn't like they were aggressive where he was getting to the rim. Like a lot of them were just off of jump shooting. I was just like, it just kind of it was the officiating was really poor that game. But that aside, if like for instance, right, just to go to Amir's point about Jokic's numbers, like, and that's kind of what I mean. And because if I were to say right, oh, Rudy Gobert outplayed Jokic, right? People would be like, oh, well, Jokic had a triple double. I'm like, he had 5 turnovers, and it's like when you look at this is all I'll say, right? Is people think, oh, like Jokic is clearly the best passer in the league, and this is all I'm gonna say. I want y'all to go look at the nature of LeBron's playmaking, and then go watch Jokic's assists, and y'all tell me the difference. That's all I'm saying. Like just go look. It did like Jokic got the triple double, but when the win is what makes the triple double look better. Because if you just look at it on face value and look at the play of the game, if either Ant or Julius Randle isn't tragic, the Wolves win that game with Jokic still getting that triple double. For a lot of that, bro, for some of that game, Rudy Gobert was leading, had more points than Jokic. It was doing a great job offensively. It's just that near the end of the game, the Wolves they had too many bad offensive possessions. Like Chris Finch needs to figure out the set, and you can't run any units with the 3 guard units. With he had Io DeSumo, Bones Highland, and who else was out there? He had some very questionable lineups out there. I don't know. Oh, and Mike Conley. He had 3 of them out on the court at one
um,
time. I was like, this is
oh,
disgusting.
really? I don't want to see
Yeah,
Bones Hyland in the game again. Not gonna lie, but
yeah.
uh, anyway, what I was saying, I don't know how much I lagged. I was saying that they missed Rudy opened so many times. Added
Mhm.
to his points, he could have had even more points if their playmaking was better. Like he was open so many times under the rim, and no one got him. Like this is one of those games where yes, he had more points than he was supposed to, but he could have had even more if Ant was himself or Randall was passing well
Right.
or McDaniels was a better passer. Like there were so many times where like the double team would be off Rudy. They'd leave him open under the rim and go double someone else outside, and no one would find him open. And that was really pissing me off because, like, come on, like he's doing all of this. He just needs some sort of playmaker in that team.
Maybe even just to have Mike Conley out there just for like this, and it's like it's series like this, watching teams like this in Houston to show, and that's why when I ever talk about like when we do NBA rankings, I inherit. You know how they look at the quarterbacks in football, um, uh, the uh, Drago, they look at the quarterbacks in football and inherently give them more value because the playmaking role and they touch the ball every possession. That's how I evaluate point guards in basketball. I inherently give them more impact on winning because of the importance they have. You can have all these other pieces, but the point guard is the glue that puts us together. It's why Chris Paul and Steve Nash got those MVPs despite the PRA or box score not looking as impressive. They set the table and the metronome and the tone for the whole team. And when you don't have that, you get teams like the Wolves who just come and just waste offensive possessions, like play a year, like quarter after quarter, and it's just like they don't do anything. If they just had a point guard who could set the table for Rudy and the rest of the team and put them into action, they would be way better. But you
Yeah.
know,
If they had like Conley 5 years younger, I mean Conley already had a great game, but if he was a bit younger, I think they like the game would look much different.
yeah, it's they're hard. Their
If
rules are
he's
tough
playing
to
like
watch.
this, if he's playing like this at this age, then I can only imagine what he would do if he was younger in this like series setting. And like they don't have a point guard other than him. They had a whole year to fix that, and they got the sumo. He's listed as a point guard, but is he really? Yeah, he's not really a point guard. Um, he's more of a shooter. Like, but I'm Bones Highland. I don't even know what he's out there doing. Like when he was signed before Westbrook in the off season last year, I was like, okay, like I'm done. I'm done with basketball discourse.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he was
honestly,
pretty good for them in the regular season, though.
yeah, it was just the lineup. If you're gonna put him in a lineup, if you're gonna use a three guard lineup, it should include DiVincenzo, not Bones
Yeah,
Highland,
no.
Conley, and Io DeSumo. I was like, what is this, Chris Finch?
Another, yeah, yeah, you just reminded me. DiVincenzo was also open multiple times. Like he
Yeah,
had the hot hand and he hit many shots, but there were
yeah.
many times where they missed him open, and this adds to how bad Jokic was on defense that I was talking about. Like if the only like good shooter on the other team is open that often, there is somebody not playing defense. I'm just gonna leave it at that, and we know who that somebody is. Like it was not a very good game from the Nuggets. They just got lucky
No,
multiple.
it wasn't. They just yeah, the Nuggets didn't play a very like people will say like I don't know from like just watching when people are picking the Nuggets to win the chip. I know it's because they believe Jokic is that great, which is understandable for someone who puts up the production he does. But it's like if you're generally watching the Nuggets as a team, it's like unless they're shooting lights out, bro. I like even watching the Spurs, right? The Spurs and the Spurs and OKC just have so much margin. You know what I mean? Like they have so much margin where it's like if one thing they can beat you in so many ways. Whereas the Nuggets, it's like Nuggets won that game and it took Murray to have like 16 free throws. Like and the Wolves to play really bad offensively. So I don't know. Like we'll see moving forward against game one. They did what they're supposed to do. Um,
Yeah,
but but the
speaking of
Wolves need a
Spurs,
point guard.
Speaking of the Spurs, did you watch the Spurs versus Blazers? Because I was just talking about it, and Thiago didn't watch it yet. So did you watch that game? Football?
Yeah, I watched the first half. I didn't watch the full game because I assumed the Spurs were going to win. Like I was just like, Wemby was sensational. He was hitting his threes. I mean, like, I never really watched the Blazers all year, but I'm like, Blazers have. Why is it Donovan Clingan? They have seven, like, Time Lord and 7-footers are taking multiple threes. I'm like, I'm not watching this game. I'm not doing this. I'm not watching like this. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what's going on here. I never knew the Blazers play like this. What they have.
Outside of the shot making, though, like,
Yeah,
because I was talking about this. Wemby was so good at making some ridiculous shots, but outside of that, I was just talking earlier. I felt like his defense was not his usual, and his positioning in the court in general was off. He was running into his teammates. He was getting screened out of plays
hmm
easily, and making mistakes on offense, like being late for setting the screen or being too early sometimes. Like it felt like a bad game for Jokic, just eye test wise.
right.
He was hitting his shots, but some of these shots would have been easier if he would get to his spots the usual way, and or like if he just didn't like take them altogether. Some of these shots were bad shots. Let's be real. Like in
The
general,
thing
I
is,
felt
with
like he got lucky with the shot making. If he didn't make all these shots, the game would have looked much different. If he shot his usual shooting, like
well, I'll give him credit. He hit the shots. You had to make him or miss him.
yeah,
The thing,
you're
the thing,
right.
yeah. I know what you mean, but like, I can't because I like to give guys credit. I mean, what 5 or 6 from three or something like that, 35 points. So
Yeah, he was
it's
five or
like,
six.
yeah. So like he made a shot. So and it's not like any of them are going to be contested. So especially from three. Like for me, the
They
Spurs
were
just have so
contested. Some of them were in fact contested. Like that's yeah.
right. To me, the Spurs are just have so much margin. Like, Wemby's gonna get a lot of the credit, but it's like they have a lot of good players. I mean, they have like multiple lottery picks, great guard play, great a lot of play. Like, bro, think of the Wolves had just one of their guards who could initiate offense. Like they just the Wolves could use a Stephon Castle right now, or just anyone who could just somewhat high IQ guard a De'Aaron Fox. Like the Wolves have the Spurs have so many ways to play basketball. Um, it's incredible, yeah. But Wemby, because of his height, right? He doesn't have to be the highest quote unquote IQ defensive player like a Draymond, right? Because he's so tall, he's gonna have impact just because he exists on the court. You know what I mean? He's going to be a deterrent at the rim just because he's 7'4" with a huge wingspan and is mobile. So
Yeah,
his
yeah.
positioning might not be the best or his IQ might not be the best because he can just do freak stuff, right? He don't need to be
Yeah,
as
but
quote unquote.
he wasn't as good as the usual, is what I'm saying. Like they were attacking him. Of course, there was the rim deterrence sometimes, but sometimes
Right.
they were like, you know what, we're going to attack him, and he just refused to contest shots. Like there were times where he did get attacked and he failed at defending the rim, and that was something I don't usually see from him. Then he
hmm
specifically attacked him multiple times and hit the shot.
Yeah, I mean it's his first playoff game, so I'm sure he
I
has to
mean, it was
prove.
Denny's first playoff game as well, and he had a really good game. I mean, I don't like to say this, but he did. Uh, he did have a really good
Who
game.
did?
Denny.
Yeah, Denny was hooping. Denny is nice. I know people like to make fun of him. Denny is nice. That Portland team is just a really weird. I'm seeing Jeremy Grant ball handling. I'm like, what am I watching? Like, it's just a weird. Like Jeremy Grant was like bringing the ball up the court, going. I don't know, man. Portland's an odd team. I mean, they should be a sweep. I mean, they're seventh, eighth seed for a reason. So you
I
know.
mean, the Spurs might sweep them because they already like some of the. It's not just Wemby's decision making, but Castle wasn't really hitting the usual shots, even though he had a good game in general, but it could have been better. Dylan Harper as well. Like they didn't play their best game and they still won comfortably. So I think this series
hmm
is not going to be long. And
Right.
yeah, like the Spurs. convinced me last night that they are a championship team. They could win
They actually convinced me otherwise. Well, it's only been one game, so I don't want to overreact. But I think um, if the thing is, if Denver, like, because assuming Denver and them advance, I would say Denver would beat. I would say Denver would beat San Antonio because of San Antonio's inexperience. But the problem with Denver is that they're extremely flawed as well. Like no one will say it, but Denver is like, especially with all the guard play that San Antonio has, bro. They might be like Denver. I think would be in trouble in that series. There's a lot of
it.
issues that.
Yeah, it really depends on how Jokic plays defense. Because yeah, I know he's never gonna be a good defender, but if he plays defense the way he played against, like the way he played in game one, they're good.
Oh, they'll get fried.
But
Yeah, they'll get fried.
but yeah, but if he at least tries, like he did some other playoffs in the last few years, because he usually does try more in the playoffs than he did in that game one. In that game one,
Yeah.
he was good. If he tried better, like he did in the last few years, they could at least, because you don't want Wemby to average like 40 on you. So yeah,
Yeah. What did you think, Drago? What did you think about that game?
Like I said about the, I was just watching a little bit of it while you two were talking. I
Yeah.
think what's going to be most interesting this playoffs is see how teams handle the Wemby problem on when they're in offense, and that's I think Portland did a little bit with Denny or other drivers. When you drive and you lay it back to the big man after Wemby is attach you, go screen Wemby. I think that's a tactic I could see people employ. Because I think just getting around his rim protection is the most important problem in any game he's in. It's gonna be the most important, and I think since we're already on these Western contenders, I think the next game we should talk about is the Thunder versus Suns, which is over in a quarter.
I'll be honest. I'm not watching any of this. Like, it's
No,
a
I watched
formality.
the first quarter and then I was like, yeah, this is over.
Yeah, it's a formality. Like, this is the
Yeah.
series is gonna be. Yeah, it's like there's not much I'm gonna learn from watching this series. Like, Shea shot 5 for 18, and it didn't matter. Like, he
yeah. To be
didn't.
honest, that's why I wanted the Warriors to advance, bro. Like I know they wouldn't win, but I think they would have made it more interesting at least.
You want to see Steph play 5-on-1?
Yeah, Steph, that would have been bad.
I mean, if
Yeah.
Kristaps was healthy, not the
Two
version
on
that.
5, 5-on-2, maybe 2-on-5, maybe 2-on-5.
I mean, to be fair though, like this is the third time, and this is let me get some agenda off. This is for the third time Shea is struggling shooting, and I don't know how many times he'll get away with it, being like not shooting his usual shooting in the playoffs. And I know that players in general shoot bad, but that's usually the role players, not the stars, and especially not the creator stars. I mean, even LeBron, who's not an ISO player per se, usually rises in the playoffs, not decreases. Shea is not supposed to drop that often in the playoffs, but he usually does. And this is a team that sucks. Like, let's be real. Like, he's playing a very bad team. This is the series where he's supposed to do good. So when he does bad in the other series, it evens itself out. And he's struggling from game one, which is a blowout. I don't know why. Like, I mean,
He probably knows he doesn't need to, like, bro. It's
I don't
that's
think
the
he was
luxury. That
missing the shots on
yeah,
purpose.
that's the but see, that's the luxury of playing. That's why I talk about margin, right? And this is what we have to do. Like, when we get to the all-time rankings, right? When we do all-time rankings, you have to consider team construction. Who you play with is really important because there's some players that for certain runs couldn't afford to have this margin. Like, you know how people talk about, I always use LeBron, but even on those Heat super teams, Braun didn't have this margin. Braun couldn't be 5 for 18.
In 2013,
This team is better
in
than those.
2013, he
Yeah,
did. Let's be
yeah.
real.
And
This
2015.
team is better than any LeBron.
Oh, way better. Way better.
Way
Way better. Because, like, dude, the thing is, Shea's circumstance is so unique because no one who's that good or with that prospect coming with that much hype is getting traded. That Paul will be involved in that Paul George trade for all those picks. You know what I mean? Like no one's gonna get like that was insane. It was like Paul George for Shea plus like all these picks. Like if any superstar start off with that level of with those resources next to him, I mean,
Actually, if Shea himself reached his potential slightly earlier, that trade would never happen. I mean, he
yeah, it
came
would
into
never
the
happen.
league. He came into the league with high expectations, but not very high. He was a risky pick. But a
Right.
lot of people like as late as he was picked, he was compared to Penny Hardaway, so he already had all-star potential. I remember that was his player comp, and when I watched him, even though he was averaging like 9 points or something, I saw it. I was a big fan of him,
He
even
was
as
a
a
good
rookie.
rookie.
Yeah, I
He
saw it.
was also he was obviously also overshadowed because that was also Lucas draft, and
not just
Right.
Luka, but
Luka was
Jeff was loaded. Like they
Trey
had,
Young
yeah, they
was a
were
really
loaded.
good here.
And he was a point guard as well. So like that era was still going on. I mean, at the time he was drafted, the league was still full of great point guards. But like I said, Shea is so good that the margin of error thing, the fact that the team is so good and that it doesn't even need him to have good games because of their defense. He has, like you said, like 7 of the best 25 defenders in the league with him, and um, he himself, I said it earlier in like an earlier episode, he's not a bad defender at all. He's a good defender. And when I watch the Spurs, I mean the Thunder, I don't feel they need him to have a good game. And that's like you mentioned LeBron in most years, other players as well. Most players actually. Like Larry Bird had great teammates, but I don't think he had that much margin for error outside of that first championship. Kobe did not have that much margin for error. When he shot bad, even in '04, they lost. Even
I'll
though
say
they had
Early Kobe had that margin of
Well,
it.
yeah,
I'd say
Shaq,
not
but
really, not really. When he
MJ
shot bad in '04, they lost.
MJ did have that. That was also a worse Shaq. That was not 01, like
yeah, that was
2000, 2001 Kobe had a big margin for error. I'd say Jordan had some days with margin for error because those
Not
teams
really. I mean,
loaded.
Jordan was probably the best player in the series every series of his career.
Yeah, but he had
yeah,
that
but
famous game against the Knicks where he was like 3 for 18 and they still won.
no, Jordan had definitely had. Is it? I don't want to go and rag on him because Jordan's obviously still go whatever. But like
Magic as
Jordan,
well, obviously.
but
Yeah,
Jordan
Magic
definitely
did
had
have.
margin because one, the thing is in that era, it's like with how prolific of a scorer Jordan is, he also went into games knowing that there wasn't someone who could match his scoring, and there was a little chance of a role player getting hot. Like the reason why it's also so hard to repeat in today's NBA is because you have to worry about role play. Like the 3 pointer is a great equalizer, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
now you can have games where it's like, okay, cool, I'm playing well, but random role player can have six threes in a game,
Yeah, that's
and
true for sure.
it's just like cool, like or a team can get hot, and it doesn't matter
No, no,
what you
no.
do.
I agree
Yeah,
with
so
you that in today's era, a role player can definitely be way more influential to it.
yeah,
I'll
Like
also
I
say,
said,
just to mention, like the defensive talent on this OKC team makes like
brother,
this
yeah,
might be the most talented defensive team since
yeah,
the merger or whatever or ever. Like they take out Lou Dort and J Dub and Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace comes in.
man,
Imagine
dude,
being a
it's
guard ball handler and you just Phoenix did this yesterday. They were like Lou Dort was haunting, I think it was Devin Booker or Jalen Green, and they screened to get him space, and they just switched Alex Caruso on him, and he did the same thing. It's like their four guards are like the four best on ball, four of the like 6, 7 on ball defenders in the league, and like their two big men is two of like the 10 best big men defenders in the league. Like they have, and even Shea is not a bad defender by any means. even their
No.
bad defenders, AJ Mitchell and Isaiah Joe, are still decent. Like they have like 10, 11 players who are just at least good defenders. Everyone.
Yeah, you know
There's
what?
so much defensive talent.
You know what
Yeah,
pissed
I
me
gotta drop real quick. I might join back on.
Yeah.
off? All right.
Oh,
Good to have you on. All right. So I was saying one of the things that pissed me off about them, but at the same time it was such a brilliant move, was the signing of Isaiah Hartenstein. This is something that I always feel like the NBA is bad at. Managers in the NBA. I mean, you have one weakness, right? Like you have one job, one weakness. Your team is good, it's winning a lot of games, but you have one weakness. And instead of going for a player that serves that weakness, you either go for something like you just blow the team up, or you get a player who does play that position, but in a different way. And I feel like when they got Hartenstein, they were a top team in the league defensively, and they were good on offense, but they had a rebounding issue. They were one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. They didn't go and trade for Jokic or like Sabonis. They didn't try, I mean, not Jokic, but I mean, they didn't try to trade for Sabonis, for example, which would have made sense because he's a good rebounder, but they would have had to give up something. They went and signed a role player who is one of the best rebounders in the league and is good enough on other stuff to start and play starter minutes. Like, he's not Andre Drummond, but seeing that move, if they couldn't sign Hartenstein, they would have probably gone Andre Drummond and they would have made it work with him as well. Because that's how smart the move was. They got the exact right player. How often do you see it? Do you see it? Like you visualize it and it happens. You know what,
And
when the
Alex
last
Caruso
time
in the same offseason. They
you know when the
traded the
last
one bad player they had, Josh Giddey, for one of the best role players, plug and play players in the league in Alex Caruso. It's like in one offseason we got these two guys. All right.
Yeah, but to be fair, that was overkill. Like the trade for Caruso was over. They didn't need him, but they got him, and they did it. Like he's a plug and play player, like you said, so he can make anything better. And at that level, that team is already so good. But when I'm talking about a team that just needs, like, you see, they're one move away from being the best team in the league or one of the best teams in the league, and they make the exact move. How often do you see that? You know when the last time I saw it? It was
Warriors,
2019.
AD.
No, the Warriors was KD. That was an easy move to make, not gonna lie. Like going for KD, any team could have gone for KD. I mean, he's the best player in the league and he's a free agent.
Ray Allen to the Heat was a pretty good move. They wanted one more shooter who could also kind of defend, do
But
stuff.
it was one more shooter, but they already have Mike Miller. I mean, the last time I saw this move, and it was a move I saw and I said it in one of my threads, I said the Raptors need to go get Marc Gasol.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That move was so perfect. It was like art in the form of general managing. You have a player, you have a position that's your only weak position. You have 4 elite defenders: Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka.
Danny Green.
Yeah, and I think Danny Green as well. And you just need a center. That's all you need. And you don't need to go for a star center. You can just go for a defensive center. But a center who's also good enough to, at other areas, other than his defense, he's good enough at other areas to play starter minutes. Because sometimes, like I said, like in the case of Andre Drummond, he's not good enough at the other stuff. The perfect signing was Marc Gasol. And, a team doesn't have that as often as, like, a team that's good enough to contend, but they need one move, and that move is available. I think the team that misses this opportunity a lot is the Lakers. They always forget what they are bad at and go for something else. They always miss the mark.
I think there's one more team, and this will be a perfect segue because I think another team I could apply for was the Celtics. When they did it twice. When they traded for Derek White and suddenly became one of the best teams like ever in 22 when their defense just became all time. And in 24, when they made 2 moves for Drew Holiday instead of Marcus Smart and Kristaps Porzingis to give them that spacing 5. That was also moves I was like, that was the exact thing you needed, and you went and got it. So they played
Yeah,
like
three
5 out
steps
crazy spacing.
specifically. Three steps
So this
specifically because
segues us
Drew.
perfectly over to talk about the Boston Celtics blowing out the Philadelphia 76ers. They're up by 15 by the end of the first quarter. And I was like, yeah, game over. Not watching this. Went back, watched the first quarter again, just looked into it. And the funny thing is, they're up by 8 with like 2 minutes left and like 2.5 minutes left. I was like, how are they going to get this to 15 in like 2 minutes? It's like Jaylen Brown went out. It's like, yeah, that's usually how it goes. Not even to whack on Jaylen Brown, but he goes out and they suddenly go on these crazy runs. It's kind of the story of the Celtics season, where they kind of beat people when he's not out, and then like the minute he goes out, it might be because the other people's starters go. I'm not trying to trash on Jaylen Brown right now, but it's just it happens when you watch Celtics games. It might also be because the other teams put their bench players in, and the Celtic players are just better than the other team's bench players. So it's not a Jaylen Brown criticism. It's more of a when you watch them, you almost certainly when he goes out, you think, okay, yeah, the run is coming now. Like the Warriors in the third quarter, they always go in these crazy ones. I think
he's just.
I think Jaylen Brown looked good. I think Jaylen Brown looked decent. He flopped the layup with you here, but he had good moments. I think he was good on defense, had some good moments on Paul George in the start. I think Jason Tatum played really well. Derek White was as usually just fit in everywhere, do the little things. Pritchard looked good. Hauser looked good. I think Vucevic even came out in. I think they look scary deep with just talent everywhere. I think they and like the system they run, the ability to generate threes. I think they look really good. I think one of the things the Sixers did was like, okay, we're gonna let them more attack the rim because they're usually games drive and kick for threes. So, and I think the Celtics responded and they hit the threes they needed, but they also got to the rim and attacked. I think Jason Tatum looked really good. So, and I think the 76 just drawing dead because the Celtics are way better than them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch it because usually I start the game a bit late, like in the second quarter, and I start from the first. That's literally why I got League Pass to avoid the timeouts. I start the game one quarter late
yeah. I do that
to
too.
skip past timeouts. And when the game is decided by the end of the first, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So
no. This is all my analysis is the first quarter. Everything after that was silly time.
Yeah, and also I think Jason Tatum's return is going to unleash the defensive monster inside Jaylen Brown, as now he has another running mate.
Yeah, he can put more energy in his defense, definitely.
Yeah, and like he can only score when needed now. I mean, he can definitely score in general, but I mean, like he's not gonna need to preserve his energy like he did when he didn't have Jason Tatum, and he's, in my opinion, one of the best one-on-one defenders in the league. So if he's playing that good defense in the playoffs, they're a scary team. And yeah, that's especially because their offense might actually be even better than in their championship year.
I think it's been like because he was out, it forced Joe Mazzulla to kind of reinvent the offense. Let's look a little bit more of not just mismatch hunting. Let's try to create off of action, getting like semi advantages. And I think they taking a lot of that into this offense with Jason Tatum. He just fits in seamlessly. I think if any team from the East is gonna beat OKC or the Spurs or the Nuggets, this is the team. Because I think they have that great equalizer in the 3-point shooting. I think they have the talent, the coaching, the defensive personnel. Their defensive personnel is also really good. Like Tatum, Brown, White, even Kate is a really good defender. Like what's his name? Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez, who they can put in. They just have guys they can put in. Their issues is they have a little bit too many of the other guys like Peyton Pritchard, Hauser, like Vucevic, where they maybe have to play guys that are not that good on defense. But I think even those guys can make it work in these systems. So I think they look really good.
I just had a random thought now. Outside, like, I mean, Celtics aside, could it possibly be that the fact that we have two very young teams facing off against each other in the Spurs and Blazers series, that maybe they haven't faced the playoffs yet? Like, maybe the reason Wemby's scoring was up and Denny's scoring was up is because
They
they're
haven't
facing they're playing a regular season game basically.
they haven't noticed yet. They've not noticed. Okay, this is different.
Yeah, like this is because even the role players are young. Like both teams. I mean, yeah, sure, Harrison Barnes and Luke Cornett here and Drew Holiday there, but like
Darren Fox played one
yeah,
playoff
but
series.
even like he had one playoff series. But I mean, generally speaking, I feel like these two teams, of course, like the Spurs are most likely gonna advance, but they haven't faced a playoff team yet because of how green both of the teams are. It looked like a regular season game to me. And
I think that's
maybe,
also a good thing. Like, to just get their feet wet a little bit. Let's see how it looks when they play Denver in the first
yeah,
real.
it could look ugly, not gonna lie, because they had like that's also another thing. If they faced a slightly more experienced team, but not a good team, that could have been their real like um playoff debut. But now it's like a regular season series because both teams are not really um playoff teams. Like this is their first series for like maybe 80% of the players in there.
I
And
think
yeah.
the last series I maybe want to talk about here is the Cavs Raptors. Did you watch that?
Yeah, how did we not talk about that yet? I did.
No,
And
yeah, that was.
it was a good game. It was the probably the best game of the game ones, and because it was the first one, probably we forgot about it.
Because
But it
the
was so good.
first half was like competitive, and then the Cavs locked in and just blew them out.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
I'm talking about the first half
Yeah,
because that was such a good game, bro. Like I was watching it feeling like, okay, this is playoff basketball. And James Harden, let me just say this. James Harden is him. And I wouldn't mind seeing him win a championship this year. He's not gonna, but I wouldn't mind it. And as for the Raptors, I just saw Ron posting the on-off numbers for Scotty Barnes. That was
Oh yeah,
terrible.
but that was also like only the third quarter.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that. But I mean, yeah, the Cavs Raptors series is. I don't think it's gonna be very long, but it could be because who really knows? I mean, it could be anybody. Um,
I think,
I,
I think, I think the Raptors' issue is offense. Like, they're kind of tasking, what's his name, Brandon Ingram with creating a lot. Scotty Bond, like, oh, the most talked about player in PC ever, Scotty Barnes, is like he's a really good defender. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's not Draymond or anything on defense, like, but he's more of an on-ball defender than this try to muck it up. Like, you see, even I think Jared Allen had like two dunks where Scotty Barnes was kind of trying to contest, but he wasn't quick enough to recognize to get his body in front. Where you can just see, okay, yeah, if that's Draymond, that's not happening. Like, he's gonna be there because that's a guy. I'm just using Draymond because he gets compared to him a lot.
yeah,
I think on
yeah,
offense, he's really missing some people to play with because he's in the games where the other guys can create advantages and help him. I think he looks good. I think he's a good connected passer. I think he's a good. He's just a good connected passer. He's good at seeing the floor. I don't think he's a level below the greatest passers of all time, but he's a really good passer. I think he's a really good athletic player that can be good in some role. I just don't think he should be tasked with creating shots off the dribble because he's just not very good at that.
yeah. I think he's. You know what was like very close to him from like the players I've watched, and I know this may sound like a disrespectful comparison, but that's probably the closest thing. younger Nicholas Batum.
I don't hate that.
I think that's like they were not tasking him because obviously they had Damian Lillard, and that's probably the type of player that Scotty should look to play with. Because Nicholas Batum, without playing on the ball at all, had like 5 assists a game or like 6 assists a game. He was that good as a passer. He had a very high IQ that he could get you 5 assists without even having any plays ran like for him
Yeah.
to
I
do
think
that.
quickly being out does really hurts Scotty.
Yeah, I
'Cause
was
that's a
about
guy
to
he
say
can play
that.
off of. That's like a
Yeah,
point guard, like a guard he can do all these things with. And when he's not there, like the offense just grinds to a halt. And
yeah,
he could not like he was trying to guard a little bit of a. They were trying to put him on Harden and Mitchell, and he did okay, but they hit like pull up threes in his face. So I think he also got 2 early fouls. So I think that was, but I think it was a good game. He hit like his first 3 threes. So I don't think I'm not saying he's terrible. I just think he's just not made. He's not made for creating offense. Like, and of course he's not. That's not his game. He's more of a defensive, connective passer, like a diamond defense kind of guy.
mhm.
That's more his role, where he's not tasked to be the main offensive creator. I think Mitchell and Harden look really good. I think Jared Allen looked really good in the first quarter.
Yeah. Jared Allen was
Really
a
physical,
monster. He was a
going to the
monster.
rim with abandon, like he had like 4 dunks or something. He was really good.
He was a monster in the first half, particularly because I don't remember much of the second, but in the first half he was a monster. He was just
I think him and
jumping
Mobley, like
over everybody.
if they're to beat Boston, which is going to be in the semifinal in the conference finals first, if I'm not mistaken, then they have like he has to be dominant. Like there's two bigs have to like really be dominant on the floor because like that is Boston's one weakness is their bigs are not that good. Like
I will say this though. I like the Harden edition particularly because of that. Harden is such a great playmaker at making bigs look good, even if they're
yes,
not good shooters. And that was their issue. It's that both of them cannot shoot from the outside, and they couldn't play together well. But when they didn't play together, the team lost its edge. That was their edge. Them together on defense is their edge. When one of them is on and the other isn't, they don't look that good. So they have to find a way to make it work with both of them on the court. They have to. I don't like the Mobley at the 5 lineup. Not gonna lie, I do not like it. I
I think
don't
it's
like
something
it.
you can go to. I think it's something you can go to and have in there. I also do like the idea of spreading their minutes out and just letting both guys go full energy for the full 30 minutes they're on there. Like, don't think about like for example, Jared Allen, do not think about conserving your energy. Just go until you're tired and we'll get Mobley in for you. I do like
Yeah,
that idea. Like kind of okay. I think a big can be so much more effective if you tell him, do not conserve yourself. Just go until you can't and do
yeah,
this and we'll get you out.
as long as they're not in foul trouble. But I mean,
Yeah,
Jared
yeah,
Allen
like
at 5 without Mobley, it works because he's a center. I mean, he doesn't have an issue playing with a smaller lineup. But I think Mobley at the 4 is one of the best defenders in the league. At the 5, I don't even know what he is. He's just there.
I think
He's
he's still
not
a
bad.
great defender at the 5. I
He's
just don't
not
think he's
bad,
amazing.
but he reminds me of when they switched Kevin Garnett to the center. I didn't like that also back then. And Kevin Garnett at the center is much better than Mobley. Let's be real. Like he's taller and he's like he does more. But Mobley at the 5 is just not it. He loses his own edge. Like at the 4, when he has someone protecting him behind him, he unleashes his defensive potential to the fullest. But when his back isn't protected, he's just there. Like he's a placeholder. I think he plays a role that a lot of players in the league can play when he's a center. And that's why I always felt that they needed another center to protect him in the non-Jared Allen minutes. Of course, preferably a 3-point shooter, but I mean, just I do not like the Mobley at the five lineup at all defensively because it takes from his own energy, and on offense it's not even that good because he's not that good as on offense. Just like Scotty Barnes, he's not someone that you can just give him the ball and let him cook. You know, he's
I
gonna
do
give
think on
you.
this team it works. I do think with like Harden and Mitchell, where he's always playing with either of those. I think it works because that's also why they want to play him at the five and play this like because they can play four out with the other guys being good shooters and then him
Yeah,
be the one shooter because he
that's why I'm
Kevin
saying I
is like
like
a
the
shooter.
Harden addition. That's why I'm saying I like the Harden addition because it does solve that issue a bit.
Yeah, it
And
really opens him up. I think I think Garland did as well when he was healthy. Like last year, Garland really did help both of these bigs because he was also an amazing guy at that. I also think like one of the a lot of the things he did last year was really. I do think he did this like he did do this like yesterday, like abuse that strength, that size, get to the rim, like just work your way down there and then finish over people. I did see that in a couple of positions. So I think it was very encouraging what I saw from him Saturday.
um,
So
you're talking about who?
Evan Mobley,
Ah, yeah, because you were talking about Garland and then you switched.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean Garland he's a great player. I'm not shitting on him. I'm just saying Harden is
yeah,
a whole
100%.
another level of playmaker.
Of course.
But yeah, Garland is great. This is not a knock on him. It is difficult in the modern game to make it work with two non-shooting bigs, uh, especially if they're not that good in like at creating their shots. I mean, Mobley is gonna give you 17 and 7 like almost every game, but he's not gonna go much higher than that, and that's probably part of the issue. Like he's not a threat on offense on his own. He needs
I think
someone
he
like
was
Harden.
last year. I this year not so like last year he really was like he could play off of the Mitchell or Garland and like if they drove and he got it in some sort of advantage, he could like work his way to the rim, maybe not fastly, but like slowly with strength and get a layup off his size and the spacing that they had. So I think he did that last year. I also think he's a decent playmaker and he's a very versatile player. That's also
I
why
don't.
like he's hitting my spots and that he's a very versatile player who's like a 4 or 5.
I
So
don't
that's
know.
kind of my
I feel like he's had 17 and 7 almost every game of his career.
yeah.
Isn't
That's also
that
valuable. Like
isn't
that
that
is
his
very
Twitter nickname? It became like his Twitter nickname. 17 and
so
7.
I think we should probably do you have anything more? What's okay, I just want to ask one question. What series of these in the first round are you looking most forward to?
Um,
Haven't seen
Everyone
this.
is talking about the Lakers versus Rockets, and we haven't talked about that game, probably because KD wasn't playing. Um,
I think it's going to be a fun little unserious series. Like we all know, none of these teams are serious. Like the whoever wins just gets mopped in 5 or 4 by OKC.
unless Luca and Reeves come
Yeah,
back, and if they come back, who knows? Listen, I trust Luca, bro. If he comes back, I'm
yeah.
not gonna count him out. Luca's a
But
crazy
like,
player. He's
I
a
think
crazy
that's
player.
like it's a fun series because it's fun to see what LeBron can do with like these non teammates he has right now. It's a fun to see how bad the Rockets are without KD, and it's fun to see what can KD do when he come back. What can the Lakers scheme? I think it's a fun little unserious series. Is how I determine it. It's like they're not really serious any of these teams, but it's like a little fun series. It's like fun.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope.
but I'm
I think we
glad the
might get a
Lakers got the
lot
game.
of sweeps
I'm
in the
glad
end.
the Lakers got the game that KD missed because, like,
Yeah,
LeBron needed that break, bro. He's missing his two best teammates, and like he needed at least one game without KD to,
is
to win.
so is that the series you're looking most forward to of these 8 series?
No, it's like if we're just talking about the series, it's probably the Nuggets versus Wolves. It has to be that one because that was like going in. That was the most anticipated series, and also from the East, it has to be the Cavs versus
Raptors.
Raptors because I think if Quickly comes back, they're going to look different because they're built around his presence. and Brandon Ingram's presence. They have to have both of these guys to function offensively. Like that, they are two different players and they cannot play each other's roles. I love Ingram's game, but he's an additional weapon. He's not an offensive leader.
I- I'm gonna go actually with the one series we didn't talk about, and that's Detroit and Orlando. Detroit being down 0-1. I think like the home team being down 1-0 is like 1-17, like 17-1. I mean, like they always win game two. Um, but here's the thing: I will look for in that game is how much they win by. Is it like okay, they just blow them out by 30? Let's get back to Orlando, or is it like close? If it's like close, I would start ringing the alarm bells for Detroit. So I think that's an interesting series. I think Orlando found some defensive things they could do against Detroit, which is a good way you beat them is like really limit their offense and get out running. I think Jalen Suggs had some really good plays I saw, and it's going to be interesting just to see Paolo and who will they match up with Paolo. Will they try Asar in the next game? And then I think in the West, it might be the first series we talked about. If I want to throw a little curveball, and that is the Blazers versus Spurs. Just to see I want to see like the Spurs first playoff series. Like it's fun with Wemby. I want to see do they give some solution to the Wemby problem? Do the Blazers do that? Do they find some creative ways of using him? The Spurs. So I think that's the other series I would like. Those are like my two maybe curveballs I would like. Do
Yeah,
you
I mean,
have anything more, Mia? Because
yeah. Just one last thing to end on like a funny note. I said that in the group chat, but like Wemby gave himself a pass to have a bunch of bad games with the law of averages with how he shot that game. He can go like 3 of 15 in the next 2 or 3 games, and he'll still be above his average from three. So that's probably a good protection to have when you're on your debut playoff run, because 10 years from now these numbers are going to be pulled up. Like we know that. So to have that good start, it protects him in the law of averages. So
yeah, people
if
remember
he
that
wins,
good.
yeah, if he wins that series and then he goes on and has a bad series in the second round, people are gonna look at the playoff numbers in general, and it will even itself out, and uh, that will look like a good debut run, even if like he gets knocked out of the second round and has a bad series. People will remember it as a good run because uh, of that game. Like threes do not even out in the playoffs. I don't believe so because it's such a small sample size. So yeah, like I think he can play bad for a whole series, and that game will still protect him in a way.
I have one final question I also want to ask actually. Is there any upset alerts we should be looking for in this rounds?
Upset alerts. I mean, you
Like
mentioned the Pistons versus Magic. I don't know about. I didn't watch that game to be honest, so I don't know. But that's probably the one that people could look forward to because we know the Magic are better than their record is, and we know the Pistons are so young, and they're probably worse than their record says. So that series,
that's
numbers wise, because that could be the most, not just because of how game one ended, but because of how good both teams are compared to the record.
but you don't think like the Wolves, the Nuggets Wolves, or the what's it called? The Trailblazers Spurs series are an upset alert, even though you are kind of critical of the winning team there.
I don't think the Blazers. No, I was not that critical of them. I was critical of Wemby.
Yeah,
But if they can win with Wemby playing like that, and they don't even have like a hot shooting night or anything, then I think they have, like
they're
football said, a margin um, for error in that series. I think the margin for error makes them safe, and it's very difficult because the Blazers played close to their best performance, and the Spurs played not so close to their best performance, and it was still a double-digit win. So that to me makes it a safe win. But the other series, I think the Magic versus Pistons because of the record. And
Yeah.
because but I don't even will that count as an upset? If we
the
know a team
Magic
is good,
winning would be a huge upset. I think they would have been. Let me see. Actually,
we know they're better than their record. Though,
I don't know if people know that. I saw people picking a sweep in that series. Like they were
because
not
France is still questionable. But I mean, if he plays his game, if he comes back to like his form, they're a great team. With him,
the Pistons was like you had to bet $500 to win $100. So they were heavy favorites. They're more favored than the Knicks are.
Oh, I forgot about the Knicks. We did not talk about that.
Nah, fuck that. We can get that. That's also a little bit maybe an unserious series.
Yeah. That's good.
Wow, the Boston are really favored. Okay, I think we can call it here. I think that was a good little episode we got in there. We will be back maybe this weekend, maybe next week early. I think we'll see. It depends on my schedule with the training camp and the games. I haven't looked at when the games are. Maybe if there's a break in between the games, we will go between the games, but we'll see. All right, Amir, that was a good one. Have a good one.
Me too. Peace out.
Peace out.